Hello and welcome to the TMC Newsroom. My name is Rich Tehrani. Thanks for watching us today. This week we are up in Boston, Massachusetts, where we are interviewing some of the best and brightest companies in this space. And on our program today is Rich Harrison. He is the president of smtp.com. Rich, welcome to the show.
Thanks a lot. Happy to be here.
Best question that I always start out with is tell me about your company, just in case someone is not aware of who you are.
Sure. SMTP is a email service provider. So we help people deliver their email to the inbox of their recipients. So large volume email, bulk email, traveling over the internet, getting into someone's inbox versus their bulk folder or spam folder.
So what sorts of trends have you seen in the market?
Well, email is clearly growing more and more. If we kind of step back of all the different channels you can reach out to your customers and your prospects. There's the phone, there's physical direct mail, and then there's digital messaging. And clearly digital messaging is the growth part, and email is the predominant share of that. There's texting, there's blogging, they're growing as well, but email is clearly the biggest channel to the marketplace. And it's becoming more and more problematic. As more people use it, people are using it illegitimately or maliciously. There's spam, there's malware, viruses that are being spread via email. And a lot of legitimate senders are getting caught up in that. Caught up in the sense that the ISPs out there, right down to the recipients, are guarding against those illegitimate emails. So all these defenses have been set up. And what's happening is the legitimate emails are getting caught up on those defenses.
I remember a while back, not to cut you off, but
Sure.
just to interject and reinforce what you're saying, that we were sending free passes to our conferences, and all of a sudden our emails were getting marked as spam, and we didn't understand why. And it was the word free. We're sending, the word free was flagged.
Exactly.
We had to change free to complimentary, and then
Right.
eventually the spammers started to use some of the other words that we use, and you have to always, as a marketer, really be on your guard, because a high percentage of your emails could go into spam folders all of a sudden without you even knowing it, unless you're paying attention.
Exactly, and that's in the content piece, as you're mentioning, messaging or the overall content of that email is just one component. So what words you use and how they'll be filtered by the spam filters is one element. The other side is your list itself. Are these opt-in recipients? Have they opted in? Do they still want to receive your email? Will they click on spam? Even though you thought before that they downloaded a white paper or they attended a seminar and you thought they were opted in, you start to communicate with them further after the fact, and all of a sudden they don't remember you and they just hit spam, and that spam complaint goes against you. And the third element is the volume of email you send. If you're sending 1 million out in 1 hour, all the flags are going to go up on the internet. Like, what is this? Is this illegitimate? And now you're being scrutinized. You're being deferred, as they call it, put over in the holding tank where you can be scrutinized. And all these make sending emails much more problematic. What's becoming a little more commoditized today is the actual creation of the email. And what is the real challenge going forward is, now that I have this lovely email, how do I get into the inbox? Because there's so many emails going on. The challenge is get that front and center, just like anything out there in promotion is the front and center in the inbox so someone can read it. The other side of this trend is outside of marketing, which has been traditional for the last few years for high volume email, is now transactional emails. More and more commerce transactions, or excuse me, applications. So shipping receipts to financial statements to,
Sure.
Gee, I just signed up for your seminar and now I'm getting a confirmation email, or a help desk where I opened up a service ticket. All those transactional emails are just a whole nother segment that just continues to grow and grow and grow. So digital messaging.
As much as we say social's replacing email, social's adding to email too.
Yes, I mean, LinkedIn, Facebook. Facebook got into the email business recently. They announced that a few months ago. There's more emails being created by the social networks than ever. Summary statements at the end of the week, everybody experiences it.
So you're in a great position to give us some predictions about the future, what's happening with email, what's happening just with messaging, technology, all of it.
Yeah, it's today where it's going is, if again, coming back to the various channels, I can't call you up anymore. It's hard for me to engage you on a one-to-one basis, on a face-to-face or over the phone. Digital is kind of my medium now to get out to you, if it be texting, if it be email. And where we see things going is that we're moving not only towards that delivery element where email is big, but also how do I form that relationship, intelligence around my customers and my prospects relative to how they're engaging me on email. Are they reading my messages? What messages are they reading? This becomes how we're profiling our users, and can I get you the right message so you will read it versus clicking on spam?
Makes a lot of sense.
So senders will have to become more and more intelligent about their recipients. So therefore, we have a nice balance between, yes, you want to receive my emails because you see that I'm sending you emails that you want to read. And that's the trend we see going towards. So more intelligence, just instead of just blasting everything out, it's more feedback from the recipients. And so how can I better message you?
So I know your company's been growing, and I'm just curious from an investment standpoint, what do you have to do to just manage it, keep up with it, prepare?
Well, to meet that trend, we have to invest on greater visibility. So that feedback mechanism coming back from the recipients, we have to implement, which we have been doing, more higher grade sending platforms for the higher volumes, and then greater visibility to the metrics, who's engaging us, how long are they even reading the emails. The feedback mechanisms to talk about if someone's clicking on spam, to feed that back to our senders to say, here, this person, you should take them off your list. So there's that greater visibility in the number of metrics, and that's what we've been investing in as a company. The other part of our investment is people. And a lot of people will say people, but people are very key to us because our company really looks at each individual sender and we consult them. That's really we're a high-touch support organization. There's a lot of education involved. People, our senders, our customers need to have feedback on what all these metrics mean. Why does AOL start blocking me? That level of education requires human interaction. So that's the other part of our investment.
So I have a kind of an interesting question, which is a little technical, but hopefully you can help with this in terms of just, I hope it comes out okay, this question. You've got a user who's unhappy and they, instead of unsubscribing, they mark you as spam just
Correct.
Because they're frustrated. Either you've sent them too much stuff or unrelated stuff, or they forgot they signed up, or they're just in a bad mood.
Right.
They clicked on spam.
Right.
Now you said that you get that information because you're part of the. Why would you get that information as opposed to the company? In other words, what enables you to get that information that they mark you as spam?
Okay, so that's what they call an FBL or a feedback loop. So all ISPs, most of the large ISPs, smaller, more and more ISPs are doing this. They create feedback loops for senders. So if people are marking spam, that goes back to the ISP, and the ISP is now sharing that through a feedback loop back to the sender. Since we are in the middle between our customer and their recipients, we get to see that feedback loop. So we're gathering all those complaints,
and then you give that back to your customer. Now, if that customer was to click again tomorrow, they got another message that upset recipient, and they click on spam again, does that ding the company twice? In other words,
yes,
it does. So
it dings.
You really there's a big, huge benefit to working with a company like yours. I just wanted to make sure I understood that because it's very difficult for a company to do that itself.
Right. And this where it ties into what I was just saying about people, investing in them, and the education. That we can send these complaints back to our senders, but what do they do with it? Will they remove those people from the list? Will they just keep them on the list, and the next day, as you pointed out, they will click spam again? That will go against them. Their IP reputation will go down. AOL will eventually end up blocking them, leading to potentially blacklisting them. That means all your emails are going to be stopped.
Right.
And that's where you don't want to go as a sender.
Exactly.
So we are constantly educating our customers. They're not aware of this. There's a lot of nooks and crannies in the delivery business that the market, the customers out there, the senders just don't know about. It's not well advertised because the ISPs are trying to stop the spammers. So they're not going to reveal all the little rules because then the spammers will be clearly taking advantage of it, or the malware. So it's kind of vague. So it's unfair to the senders, but it's kind of the world we live in today that you have to kind of keep this a little cloudy, but it's a perfect opportunity for a company like ours.
Similar to search engine optimization.
Similar
it's the
concept.
Same kind of challenge.
Right, because then people would take advantage of it. And it's just the digital, that's the negative side of the digital world.
Absolutely.
So we're helping the legitimate senders navigate that world and ultimately get their emails to the inbox, but keeping them in line and not crossing the line of processing their bounces, processing their spam complaints, watching how many they send and how often. And then ultimately, as I was saying before about the intelligence and where things are going, how can we provide more and more intelligence? Because there's different functional groups in a company. And you have the billing department, you have the service department, you have the marketing, sales. Everybody's hitting the same recipients. They have one list of customers. And all these departments don't talk. So there's just the volume of emails going to those customers, that contact list. And that's where you start to run into trouble. So providing visibility, providing consultation is what SMTP does.
Thanks, Rich. This was awesome.
I appreciate it. Thanks for the time.